Good afternoon, students. Hear my voice?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, students. So we have already completed introduction of the concepts that have been there in our advanced Java laboratory. Now we are going to discuss about each and every concept.
Excuse me, sir.
Hello, tell me.
Sir, your voice is so clumsy, sir.
Clumsy. 1 minute. Now the voice is clear.
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
So is my voice clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, thank you. I think some of the students have not registered in Microsoft Teams. Without registering the Microsoft Teams, you are directly connected to Microsoft Teams as a guest user. But when you log in using guest login now, so it's shown as unknown user. So I think I request all the students, you please register in the Microsoft Teams with your registration number and log in into every class using your registration number only. So if you log in using your registration number, so then your registration number will be shown in the participants list. Then we can track so the participants list and as well as attendance list also in the participants list. So in the next time onwards, we please register in the Microsoft Teams without instead of logging into using your guest login into the Microsoft Teams. Okay. So we are going to discuss about today Java collection framework. See that Java collection framework. In previous class, as we already told you, the first concept of Advanced Java Laboratory or the first experiment of the Advanced Java Lab concerned to the topic called Java collection framework. So as we discussed, the collection framework is a kind of API which is there in Java 1.5 onwards. This collection framework can be used for holding, manipulation of a collection of objects at a time. Each collection object is having the capability to hold multiple objects. Thereby, the collection object can able to perform the operations at a time on a group of objects. Okay. Then we'll get the result of the collection framework. Once the operation has been completed, applied on each and every object that is held by a specific collection object. So all these collection objects are in terms of interfaces, implementations, and some sort of collections is having algorithms implemented in each and every class also. And all collection framework architecture classes, related classes are there in a util package. util package. As you already know, there are different kinds of packages available in our Java. So we have one specific package available that is called as util package. So we can include that util package into our every application wherever if you want to apply collection framework classes if you use. Okay, so the collection the util package can be imported into your program using the statement like import java.util.star. So nothing but all different kinds of classes available in the util package will be imported into our application. Okay, so before going or before implementation of any collection framework used in our program, so we must import. Do you remember? We must import util package into your application. Okay, and these collection framework architecture will be consist of different kinds of interfaces. And from these interfaces, different kinds of classes in terms of implementations, and some of the classes may also implemented with some sort of algorithms like. Okay, so algorithms in the sense it may be an operation called a sort algorithm like. Okay, and we have the retrieval algorithm, we have traversal algorithms. So like this, if you consider the data structures algorithms, so we will be having different kinds of algorithms available in data structure like a traversing algorithm, sorting algorithm, merging algorithms like this. So some of the classes in collection framework will be having the implementation of these kind of algorithms as in the format of implementation procedures available in the collection framework. Okay, so the framework at any time, at any field with framework, nothing but it consists of architectural organizational interfaces and the classes and as well as algorithms. Okay, so all these classes are organized in a specific structured manner using the concept of core Java like inheritance polymorphism. Okay, and this is a simple example. Simple architecture for the collection framework. So this can be achieved using core Java concepts like inheritance and polymorphism. So this is the organizational and it is a structured manner how collection framework architecture classes consist of. Okay, so here if you observe the diagram, first one is a super class for all collection framework is iterable, and then after this there is a having interface called collection, super interface called collection. From this collection interface there will be having three different interfaces again. One is a set interface, queue interface and list interface. All these three different interfaces is having the super class called collection, which in turn the collection interface is having the super interface that is called as iterable. Okay, and then at last in the last level, so we'll be having sorted set, which is again an interface, but is a sub interface of set interface. It's a sub interface of set interface. Okay, and apart from this collection interface, we'll be having another interface architecture also be there that is called as a map interface. A map interface is somewhat different from the collection interface. We'll see later what is the difference between the map and the collection. So in terms of data structure and data structure, so there will be having the difference between collection and map. Okay, and map is a super interface. From this map, there will be having another super interface that is called a sorted map. And this is a simple architecture of the interfaces available in the collection framework. Okay, so I am not showing any classes related to the collection framework. So I'm showing only I'm showing only the list of interfaces available in collection framework. Okay, so mainly we'll be having four different types of interfaces available. One is a set, queue, list, and map. Four different interfaces. From these interfaces, there will be having different kinds of classes, implementable classes available that will be seen. Okay, so this is exact architecture, including classes and interfaces. As you know already in core Java, interfaces consist of abstract methods and final variables. Interfaces is nothing but is a kind of class, but the difference is here. The interface consists of all abstract methods without having any implementation, and then final variables itself. Okay. So the use of interface, the class can implement all the features of interface itself. Okay. So that is the way how classes can be used. The interfaces can be used inside the classes itself. Okay. And here, up to this part, we have already shown a diagram. Up to this part, interfaces part, set, queue, list. From this, super interface is collection. Okay, and including classes and implementable classes. These are the structure of the classes organization. Okay, so see this set interface. From the set interface, we'll be having two different classes available: hash set, linked hash set. Hash set, linked hash set. Super interface is set. Okay, and there is another interface, another class also be there. Tree set. Tree set again subclass for sorted set. Subclass for sorted set. And here the queue will be having priority queue class, which is came from queue interface. And the list, from the list interface, we have two different classes: linked list and array list. Linked list and array list are the subclasses for list. And observe the point. This linked list came from two different interfaces. One is queue and another one is list. Okay. So this is collection classes. And coming to the map interface classes, there is a hash map and tree map, linked hash map. There are three different classes available from map interface. Tree map came from the sorted map interface. Hash map and linked hash map came from the map interface. Okay, so mainly, so we have the different classes like hash set, linked hash set, tree set, priority queue, linked list, array list, hash map, tree map, and linked hash map. So collection framework related classes are only these number of classes. So we don't have any further list of classes. So we have these kind of classes available in collection framework. And learning collection framework in the sense learning the implementation of all these classes. Okay, the implementation in the sense every class is having some sort of properties and as well as methods available. Okay, so that the discussion of each and every class in terms of how the variables, nothing but properties are there in the class, and what are the different types of methods available in the class. So that's a discussion for each and every class itself. Okay, so once every class has been, every class discussion is completed. So after completion of all the classes, then we will see how the programs are implemented using these kind of classes itself. Okay, and this table is very important table. Inside each and every collection framework classes, what are the different kinds of data structures implemented for holding the data? So here, so mainly the hash table, array, tree, linked list, hash table with linked list data structure mainly implemented in the collection framework. So we have hash table, array, tree, linked list, hash table with linked list. Okay, totally 3 plus 2, 5 different data structures implemented in the collection framework, but not all data structures implemented in every class. Okay, so coming to the set interface, set related classes. Set related classes nothing but you see set related classes are hash set, linked hash set, and tree set. Okay, in these classes, hash set class used the data structure called hash table. Tree set class used the data structure called balanced tree. Linked hash set used the data structure called hash table, linked list with the hash table. And coming to the list interface classes are related to linked list, array list, and I mean, linked list and array list. There are two classes related to the list. The list interface having the data structure called resizable array used in array list class, and the linked list concept implemented in linked list class. Linked list class. So that here data structure related implementation you need not implement it in the programs. Already all these data structures implementations available, readily available in all these classes. Wherever if you want to perform a specific data structure operation, so then you can use that kind of data structure related in your application or in your program. Suppose you wanted to apply linked list operations in your program, in your application. So then directly you can use a linked list class and apply the related operations upon the linked list class. Then the linked list operations you can able to achieve in the programs. Now the linked list operations nothing but header node creation, the insertion at first, insertion at last, insertion at middle, and deletion at last, deletion at middle, deletion at front. So all these kind of operations using the methods of the linked list you can use, and you can use those methods of the linked list to do the specific type of operations of the linked list in our application. So that here no need of internal implementation that can be done by the programmers in the applications. Okay. Suppose if you want to perform hash table related operations, the hash table related operations, then there are different kinds of hash table related operations like hash set, hash map, a hash set, a linked hash set, and a linked hash map. So 4 different types of classes available to do the operations on hash table. Okay. Suppose if we want to apply the array operations, simple array operations, so then we can use either array list or linked list concept in your application. Okay. So that's the all kinds of data structures implementation readily available in the collection framework. That's the reason why collection framework is most popular in large scale of applications and the large scale of projects if you want to implement in Java. Okay. So this is a very important table that will be placed a very important role in your campus interviews questions also. Okay. So what kind of data structure is used in which class? Okay. Suppose if you take hash map, what kind of data structure has been used? If you take tree map, so what kind of data structure is used? Otherwise, suppose hash table with the linked list data structure is used in which class? Like this, some sort of questions may be arise with this table. Okay. So as we know already, the collection definition and all these things we have already discussed, and in this this is very important. And the second point is it is not specified whether they are ordered or not ordered, and duplicated, not duplicated. Okay. Some sort of classes may supported to hold the objects in ordered way, and some classes can hold the objects without having any specific order. And some classes may accept duplicated objects, and some objects or some classes cannot accept the duplicated object in the collections. Okay. And the next, the next point is here. T is nothing but is a kind of a collection object. Is a kind of collection class. Is a kind of collection class. How to create a collection object here? There are 2 different types of constructors you have to use to create the object from the collection framework. Okay, the first one is the constructor with empty constructor. Creation of the collection object using empty constructor, and creation of the collection object from existing collection object. From existing collection object. There are 2 different kinds of constructors available in each and every collection framework class. That is empty constructor, and another one is the constructor to create the object from the existing collection framework. Okay. Suppose if you suppose there is an array list object. Since the array list object is having the implementation resizable array, but you are not interested to have array list in your program because number of elements have been and gradually increased into the array list, so that it may not be feasible in your application. So you want to switch over from the array list to the linked list. Okay, so that you have to create the object of the linked list from the array list object. Okay, so that's the reason why we have to use a second constructor that is called as a T or existing class array list. Okay, so these are the two different ways to create the objects from the collection framework. Okay, so and the next one is common methods available in all the collection framework objects. Okay, so one is size is empty, contains all, add all, remove all, clear, to array, and iterator. These are the list of functions that are commonly available in all the collection framework objects. Okay, so as this list of methods available in the collection interface. Since collection interface is a super interface for all different types of classes and interfaces, so that all the list of functions implemented are available in the classes collection that can be accessible in all the list of interfaces and the list of classes also. So that I can say these are the list of methods which are common to all collection framework objects. Okay. See the size nothing but it will count how many number of objects that presently collection holds. Is empty verifies whether the collection object is having objects or not. Okay, it returns true if the object is empty object, does not have any object that does not hold any objects, returns true. Suppose if it contains number of objects, then returns false. And third method contains of the object. Okay, so it verifies whether the object existed in the collection or not. If the specified object is existed, returns true. Otherwise, returns false. Contains all of collection. Okay, so here I'm giving argument collection and verifies all the objects in the collection C contains in the existing object or existing collection object or not. Suppose every object of the C collection contains in the existing collection, so then returns true. Otherwise, if any of the object in C is not available in the existing collection, so then returns false. And add of object, it will add the object into the collection. Add all of collection, all the objects in the C will be added at a time to the existing collection. Remove of object, it will remove a specific object that contained in the collection. Remove all of collection, all the objects that are there in the C will be removed from the existing collection. Clear, removes every object from the collection. To array, if you call to array, so then it will return as array of objects from the collection. Iterator, so this iterator will be discussed later. So while we are discussing about the iterator interface. So iterator, nothing but it will traverse each and every object in the collection and gets the object, returns that object to you. So then you can access that object in your application. So that will discuss later how the iterator function is worked. See this, the way how we have to create the objects from the collection. So here, collection persons equal to new linked list. Okay, I am creating a linked list object here. And this linked list object is stored into collection object. This statement is perfectly all right because as you already get aware of inheritance and polymorphism concept in the core Java, the subclass object, this is a subclass object, linked list is a subclass object. This subclass object can be stored into superclass. Here the superclass is a collection, is a superclass, otherwise super interface, whatever it may be. In this superclass, we can able to create subclass object. then this means this superclass object can refer subclass object. If you have the confusion at all, you can use as usual statement of how to create the object from the class. So here I can create a linked list object persons equal to new linked list. That's all. Very simple technique to use to create the object itself. Okay. So we have the confusion. So then you can omit this kind of statement. So directly you can use a linked list name of the object equal to new linked list. That's all. And from this linked list, you can able to add the objects here. Okay. So persons dot add of new person. This is one object. New person is one type of object, and this object is added into the collection object called persons. Now presently the persons class or the persons object holds one person object here. Okay. And suppose if I'm printing persons dot size, it will print how many number of objects are there. Presently it will hold only it holds only one object, so it will print one. Okay. And again I'm creating a new object again, tree set. Okay. From the tree set again collection object. So if you have confusion, you can use a tree set object equal to new tree set. Okay. And I'm using the method like copy dot add all of persons. Here persons nothing but this came from the linked list. Persons is a came from the linked list. So that this linked list persons are added, nothing but all the objects inside the persons added into tree set concept or a tree set object here. Now this person object, Alice person object, is contained in persons, which is a linked list object, and copy, which is a tree set object. Okay. So like this, we can do some sort of manipulations and perform the operations on the objects entirely using this collection example. Okay. And we'll see the map interface. Right. So we'll discuss later the map interface. You see this generic collections. As you know, we have created the person's object specifically. This kind of concept is called as here generic classes or generic objects itself. Generic object nothing but creation of the object in a specific manner or in a specific way to hold the kind of a specific kind of objects itself. That is called as a generic classes. Actually, in core Java, so as per our knowledge, we are creating the object like here the class name and the object name equal to new class name. That's only the syntax we know. But the thing is here, in case of generic classes, we have to use angle bracket. We have to use angle bracket, and inside this angle bracket, we have to specify the class name here. To specify the class name here. The purpose here is this person's object only used for holding person object. This person's object does not use for holding any other kind of objects instead of person. Other than person object, this person's object cannot hold any other kind of objects. That is the reason why we have to use angle bracket. Inside this angle bracket, I specify the class name here. I am specifying the class name person so that this object can use for holding only person object. Suppose if we are using here student object or student class, then this object can hold only student object, does not hold any other kind of objects other than student. So like this, we can create the object in a specific manner. Okay. Suppose if we are not using this angle bracket class name, so then this object can hold any kind of objects. So that it can hold a person object, student object, college object, like this. It doesn't have the structure to hold the objects. Okay. It can hold multiple objects at a time here. Okay, that is the reason why we have to create specific objects for the collection framework. So that the specificness is called as here generic classes here. Okay, so that generic collections we have to use as a concept in the collection framework. Okay. See this is the list object. This is a list object. On this list object, in this list object, we are adding integer object in a zeroth position. Since the list is created from the specific integer object, so that we have to store only integer objects. We cannot be able to store any other kind of objects other than integer into the list. So like this, we can use the generic classes. I can stop over the discussion here, and I'm going to the implementation part. So for implementation of all the experiments in our advanced Java lab, I'm using the IDE, Integrated Development Environment, that is Eclipse. So all the students in your laptop, you have to install Eclipse software, Eclipse IDE, and configure Eclipse IDE to work with your installed Java version. Okay, so there will be having a compatibility between Eclipse and Java. Okay, so that you have to see what kind of Eclipse IDE is supported for your Java installed in your system. Okay, so go to Google and try search for Eclipse compatible to your Java version. Download that Eclipse into your program in your system and install that Eclipse into your systems to execute our programs itself. Okay, so not only our AJ programs. So in future, if you wanted to do Java related applications, Java related projects, then Eclipse is more flexible to implement our Java projects itself. Okay, so here this is the interface for IDE Eclipse. So there are some menu bar which is having some menu options, and there are standard toolbar which contains shortcut operations, shortcut buttons for doing operations in a faster manner. And this is a project explorer. This project explorer contains all the projects that have been implemented in your current system. So that these are the list of projects that I have in my system done in the Eclipse IDE. Okay, and this is the coding window. So this is where we have to implement, where we have to write the code in this window, and these are the console window. So we can do all console related operations to execute your programs like Java. If you want to apply Java C command like this, so this is the place where you can do all console related operations. And the server, so presently we have to use a Tomcat server for execution of our web related programs that we'll discuss later, the servers window. And mainly we have to experiment with the project explorer, and this is the coding window, and then a console window. Okay, so there are three different windows are very important presently here. Okay. And in this, I a new project, a new application, like there you can find the Java project here. If Java project is not available in the new, then go to others. Then there is Java project, and then click on next. So the students, if you have Eclipse IDE in your system, you can open Eclipse IDE and do experiments along with me. Whatever the operation that I'm doing along with me, you can do that programs whatever I am doing parallelly. Okay, so can I wait for some time to open Eclipse IDE in your system? Otherwise, I can
Yes,
continue
sir.
the discussion. Can I wait some time to open Eclipse in your laptop? Yeah. Project name, I'm giving name of the project here. Sample collection project name I'm giving, and go to next. Okay. So all your programs are under the folder called SRC. SRC nothing but source file. So all your Java programs can be included into the SRC folder of the project sample collection, and then click on finish. Java perspective window in the Eclipse. Okay, there are different kinds of perspectives. Okay, Java EE perspective. Suppose if you want to develop J2 EE projects in your Eclipse, then you have to open Java EE perspective. So, but here presently we are doing only Java browser, so that Eclipse must be open in a Java perspective. So if you wanted to know in which perspective the Eclipse is open, so that will shown here all perspectives list. Okay, and this is a Java perspective, and this is Java EE perspective. Like this, we'll be having different kinds of perspectives. So presently, which one is enabled here? Java is enabled here, so that our Eclipse open with the Java perspective. If you click on Java EE, so then Eclipse will be moved from Java perspective to Java EE perspective. Okay, so presently we are doing only Java project, so that open Eclipse with Java perspective only. This is very important in which mode the Eclipse has to be opened, depending upon the kind of project we are going to implement here. Okay, our project is here, the sample collection. Sample collection. If you collapse this sample collection, so then there is a SRC folder. Here in this SRC folder, if you right click on SRC folder and then go to new, okay, and then create a package. Okay, every Java project you have to implement in a package specific structure. Okay, so without having the package, students, you don't implement the programs. So that first of all you have to implement, I have to create the package here. The package name I am creating here, like demo collection is a package, and create finish. So observe, there is a demo collection package has been created, and from this demo collection I want to create a new class inside this demo collection. So again, select demo collection package, new, and then class. Here the source folder, the sample collection source. So this is the folder where our complete classes stored, and the package, and under which package our class is concerned, demo collection. Okay, and here we have to specify the name of the class. Name of the class. Okay. collection 1 name of the class here. Okay. And the superclass, by default, the superclass is object. Okay. And the modifiers, public modifier. So as usually. And here, suppose what kind of constructors and methods to be included by default into your classes. Okay. So by default, it will on inherited abstract methods, it will include all the methods that are came from the interfaces. Okay, so that if you check this one, so then all inherited methods will be included automatically. And let me finish this class. Yeah. So with the default statements, it will create a new class with the package demo collection and public class collection 1. And inside this, it will open braces and closing the braces here. Okay. And here, suppose this is students, please unmute yourself. Some students voice is coming. Please mute yourself, all the students. Okay. And again, I'm creating a new class again. New class. Student class I'm creating. Okay. So here, student class contains the properties like student name, student register number. And then branch. There are 3 properties I have created inside the student class. And for these properties to access, we have to create getter methods and setter methods to access these properties from the student class. For creating getter methods and setter methods into the class, no need to use hard-coded method. So there will be having the option called just right-click inside the empty area of the class before closing braces. Click on source, and then there is an option called generate getters and setters. For which properties you want to generate getters and setters, select all the properties. If you click on select all, so then it will select all the properties that are available in your class. Okay, and then just click on OK. It will generate a list of methods for each and every property. Getters and setters will be generated. Here, this is for name property. Get name, set name. Get name used for retrieve the name value from the student class. If we want to set the name value for the student class, then set name. And register number, to get the register number, to set the register number, and to get the branch, to set the branch. So we have the methods like this. Okay, and just save this file here, student.java. Okay, and then okay, so I just remove collection1.java for the namesake. For demonstration purpose, I have created collection1.java. So just I'm deleting this collection1.java. It will remove collection1.java here. So in the demo collection, so we have a student object here. And again, I'm creating a new class inside the same demo collection. I'm creating the class name called ArrayList demo, so that I'm showing you ArrayList demonstration. And inside the demo collection package, and click. click on class ArrayList demo. Okay. Now I'm adding a main method inside ArrayList demo class. Previously, I'm not included main method. So now in this ArrayList demo, I want to implement main method, so that I have included this main method into this class. Click on finish. Yeah. So now you see, you observe the class definition. It will add a main method into our ArrayList demo. So now inside the package demo. So now I'm importing a util package here to do collection framework, to do with collection framework. And then here, creating the object, st-list object from the ArrayList with generic student. So the st-list object, which is ArrayList, which can hold only student objects. Okay, new ArrayList. Yeah. Now I'm adding st-list dot. If you click on dot, if you type dot for that object, then it will open a balloon help which contains all the methods that are available in the specific object, st-list object. So these are all different list of methods available in ArrayList class, because st-list came from the ArrayList class, so that it shows all list of methods that have been available in the ArrayList class. Okay, so now from this class, from this list of methods, I'm using add student. Okay. So before using this add, so I have to create a student object, st equal to new student. The object has been created from this empty object. So I want to set a name. And then set a register number. And then set a branch. So here there is a red mark is indicated that shows some sort of error has been occurred on that place. If you go to that wrong indicator mark, so then it displays error description. By reading this error description, so you can understand that error description and you can rectify there itself without compiling the program itself. Okay, so there is a error came, syntax error, insert semicolon to complete the statement. So then I can understand, and you can put a semicolon here. Okay, and then you have to add st object into st-list. And then suppose I want to add another student object, st2 dot set name, and again st2 dot set register number. And then st2 dot set branch IT, for example. otherwise CSC. Now again, I'm adding another object, st2 object. Okay. Suppose observe the point. If you are typing the statement like sys out control space, then it will add the statement system.out.println. It is a shortcut way to write your system.out.println. Okay. Again, I am showing you sys out control space. Okay. And stlist dot size I am applying. Size of array list. And now I'm printing all the objects that are stored in the array list object now presently. So for this, just I'm writing one loop until size of the array stlist dot size, and then I plus plus here to get the student object from the st list, which is array list. So then we can use st equal to array list st list dot get of I. Get to get a specific object from the index, from the specific index here. Okay, high is 0. From 0th index, whatever the object is there, that object will be retrieved and stored into the st object here. Okay, this out st3 dot get registration number. I'm printing only registration number instead of printing all the details of the object that is retrieved from the array list. Okay. Now presently there are two objects. There are two objects available. Okay. I'm saving this one, and I wanted to show you the output of this array list demo by execution. So for execution, so just array list demo. So which program you want to execute? So then go to Project Package Explorer, select the program which you want to run, and then right click, run as Java application. Use run as Java application. Then automatically it will run and it will go to the console and it displays the output. Size of array list, presently there are two objects hold in the array list, and the details of each and every object that are there in the array list. Okay, so first object register number is 1201, and second object register number is 1209. So like this, we can able to operate with the array list collection object here. Okay, so this is the very simple demonstration of how to use Eclipse and how to use the collection framework. One of the object array list. Okay, later we will discuss the remaining part also. Okay, and up to this, whatever the doubts, you can raise your doubts. Otherwise, we can close our session today. If you have any doubts, you can unmute yourself and tell me the doubt. Then I can rectify the doubt. Students, please respond. Please respond.
No doubts, sir.
No doubts at all. There are how many members are there in participants? So totally 91 students are there. Okay, please respond the 91 students whether we are having any doubts or not.
No doubt, sir.
No doubt,
No
sir.
doubt, sir.
Sir, for Eclipse installer, we should first download the Java, sir, JDK.
Before Eclipse, before installation of Eclipse, first we have to install Java in your laptop, and ensure to get Eclipse compatible for your Java installed in your system.
Okay, sir.
Okay, suppose if you have a Java 1.6, okay, so you have to find an Eclipse from the Google which is compatible for Java 1.6. Suppose your laptop contains Java 1.8 version, so that you have to get the Eclipse from the Google to which is compatible for Java 1.8. Okay, so that I cannot able to give Eclipse software to you. That's the reason why I have to. Suppose if it is common for all Java versions, so then I can give that kind of Eclipse. Okay, so so I don't know. I mean, on each and every student's laptop is having different versions of Java, so that I cannot able to give a common Eclipse platform to you all. That's the reason every student grab the Eclipse from Google depending on your Java version only.
Okay, sir.
Next one. Next, any other doubts?
No, sir.
No. Okay.
No, sir.
The point is here. I can share one document in WhatsApp group, which consists of 3 classes Teams URL. So every week a permanent link you have to use. Monday there will be having one link, on Wednesday one link, on Friday, every Friday one link is there. So use that corresponding link to join into the Teams class. And one thing, and another thing I want to give you is I have created one Google Classroom Advanced Java Lab. So I will share that code, Google Classroom code. So before joining into the next class, you have to join into that Google Classroom. Okay, so before coming to the class, okay, and in Google Classroom, so every day's class will be uploaded, and everyday class video will be uploaded into that Google Classroom, and you can download and you can see if you have any doubts. And the next point is here, whatever the materials and the PPTs which you have used for the classes, all those things will be shared into the Google Classroom, so that you can download those things also from the Google Classroom. Okay. Then there's a thing. So what I wanted to share with you. Okay. So now I'm closing the session, and you can leave the meeting.
Sir,
Hello. Tell me.
sir, how can we know the version of Java in our computer, sir?
You just go to my computer and go to C drive. Go to either program files or program files x86. You can go either of these files. Suppose. Okay. I'm going to program files. Extract this program files. There is a Java folder. Go to Java folder. So this is your JDK version 1.7. So my system is configured with JDK 1.7. Okay. Suppose if your system is configured with Java 1.8, so then JDK 1.8 is there. Suppose if you have 1.6, then JDK 1.6 is there. So that's the way. How can we? There's a way to determine your Java version here.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Welcome, sir. Net typing, sir.
Hello. Okay. So if you don't have any doubts, you can leave the meeting.